Welcome back everyone, or if you're new here, I'm Jazz and this is Endless Road. As you've seen from the title, it's a bit cliche, isn't it? The ultimate flooring guide. I'm going to try my best at doing the best flooring guide video that I can. So what I have here is multiple samples of all different types of flooring, mainly the ones that I thought are applicable to a camper van, and they're all either foams or types of hard flooring as such. There's no carpets, because a carpet in a van I think is just a silly idea, to be honest. It's gonna get soggy and then it's gonna produce condensation, which we all know is the number one enemy, or one of them, in a camper van. We don't want condensation happening. So we try to keep things as dry as possible, and if the flooring surface can be mopped up from your wet feet, then that's all good. So like I said, I got a number of different samples here. We got woods, we got corks, we got linos, rubbers, foams, vinyls, and then some different kind of thing on the end there. And then a few variations of each one as well. I'm going to try and cover all the main things that us guys with camper vans and girls look for in a flooring. I'm going to try and deviate away from the technical sides of things, because half the time we read that and we haven't got a clue what we're reading. It's all gobbledygook to baffle us, and we just want a more kind of a raw video on what it's like in the real world. That's what I think anyway, that's what I would want. If you're scratching your head and wondering what kind of flooring to put in your camper van, then hopefully this video might help you in some way and get you closer to picking your preferred flooring for your van. Just want to add in as well, it's a long video because I tried my best to edit it down, so the editing is rubbish, just because I'm trying to cut as much non-interesting stuff out as possible to make the whole video shorter, and it still ended up being really long. So if you're not interested in flooring, then it's probably not the video for you, so you can skip this one if you want to. If you are at that point of time in building your van and you haven't done your flooring yet, then it may be applicable to you. But I've never put timestamps on a video before. I'm not sure how to do it yet. So if I can do it, I'll put it how you're meant to do it. If I can't figure out how to do it, I'll put where the different categories that I cover in the description, and then you can just have a look at that and read through it, see what's applicable to you when picking a flooring, and you can just watch that bit. So you haven't got to watch the entire video if you don't want to. You can just pick out the bits that are useful to you. I haven't put any of my little innuendos and funny videos in this because, again, that's just going to make the video 10 times longer as well. But there would have been an epic amount in it if I did, so just see if you can spot where I would have put one, and yeah, just maybe have a giggle to yourself anyway. And last but not least, not all the evidence is pure factual. Some of it is opinionated by myself. Take that as you will. I'm no expert, and I'm certainly not right or wrong. Just, you know, everyone's different. Have your own opinion, and maybe drop that in the comments as well, what you think. Right, so let's go through them. What we got? We got hardwood, and we got basically two different types of hardwood there. They are oak, so we got a thinner one and a thicker one. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're going to be laughing because whoever's putting hardwood in their camper van is nuts. Next up, we got your traditional wood laminate flooring. After that, we got Hexagrip birch plywood. Now this is an interesting one because if you use this, you can do away with actual flooring, because you would use this as your floor in your van. So you wouldn't have to put anything else on top of it, because obviously you have your wooden floor in your van first, and then you put your flooring on top of that. But because this has got this hexagon pattern on it already, you kind of skip a step. Cork laminate. So it's cork on the top and the bottom, and then is, I think, MDF, a real thin slice of MDF in the middle. Just plain old cork flooring. Marmoleum, which is what I've heard is the upgraded newer version of Lino. We got rubber flooring. Then we got EVA foam. Then we go into the vinyls. So this is just vinyl cushion flooring. We got your traditional vinyl matting, this is actually Altro, which I know is quite common and preferred in the campervan realms. Then we got self-adhesive vinyl plank flooring, LVT or LVP vinyl flooring. This is made by Candine, I think I pronounced that right. And then on the end we got SPC laminate flooring, which is what I believe is stone polymer composite flooring. And what that actually is, I believe, if you see there, the white layer in the middle, that's the stone, and it's actually limestone. So yeah, we got 13 different types of flooring, and then we got a few different variations of each one as well. Test each one in each category, and then we'll see if we can get some kind of results at the end of it. I'm at the stage where I'm deciding what floor I want in my van, so it's going to help me as well. So to start it off, we'll do the first two categories kind of at the same time. So that's looks and feel, which is probably right high up on the scale. So we'll start off with hardwood. Now hardwood, everyone loves hardwood in their homes. I mean, it looks awesome, and well, it's wood, feels like wood. So yeah, looks and feels really good, looks really good. Everyone knows what hardwood feels like. And then we got laminate. Really smooth, looks like wood, even though it is wood, but you know, it isn't on the top. Looks lovely and feels nice as well. Hexagrip plywood. Now, it's very much like a utility kind of look to it. I'm not sure if I would want to wake up in the morning with bare feet and have that underneath my feet, because it's very rough. Looks wise, I mean, if your whole camper van's kind of going for that feel, then it's going to fit right in. So the stone laminate, same as your normal wood laminate and your hardwood, it looks like wood, but I'm pretty sure it came in all designs and colors and stuff. You could have it looking like stone tiles, you could have it looking like wood. This is a wood effect. It's more 3D than your wood laminate. That's very smooth, although you can get like more 3D ones of them. On a case of being realistic, I would say yeah, it's very realistic. It feels like it's rougher than hardwood actually. So yeah, I like that one. Cork. You got your cork laminate and you've got your cork, normal cork. They both look the same. They came in lots of different patterns and designs. They would like, these are just your normal kind of diced up cork designs, but they had all like swirls and all sorts of things. It was really, some of them were really fancy, but I think it's kind of a desired look to it. You gotta want it, and I'm pretty sure it's quite old-fashioned as well. Although it's by the looks of it, it's making a comeback. It's not my cup of tea to look at. It looks like underlay. I mean, it feels it's the same as the like wood laminate or something. Well, it's even smoother than that. It's really smooth. Then you've got your vinyl plank laminates. So we got this one, like a non-named one, and we got the Cardine. They both feel exactly the same. Very similar to the stone laminate. The stone laminate is still a bit rougher. They look and feel like wood. One's got a matte lacquer on it, one's got like a satin. So I assume they have different lacquers on them as well that you can pick, because there was different ranges. And obviously all different designs and colours as well. So yeah, they're really nice. Rubber. You can either get it with the, I think they call it the penny pattern or dime pattern, which has got the circles on it, or you can get checker plate design. I mean, it's like utility vehicle or industrial kind of look again. I mean, if you had them paired together, it would work well. Feel wise, it's quite grippy, but it's smooth. I don't think I'd have it in my main floor. Like I said, if it's like a utility vehicle, especially if you've got a garage in the back of your camper van, ideal for that area, but I don't think you'd have it in your main living area. EVA foam. Now, I thought they all just come in just your block colours. Some of them come with effects of like dimples on them and checker plate and stuff. Like you see it in all your YouTubers' garages and in gyms. So they're all bright colours and stuff. But I have since found, although I haven't got any samples, that they do wood effects. So I'm not quite sure what the surface of that looks like. I mean, it's really smooth and it's almost got like a fuzzy kind of feel to it, even though it's smooth. It's weird. It's squidgy. The rubber is a tiny bit squidgy. None of the others are squidgy. Yeah, you can't really even squidge the cork, but this is squidgy, really squidgy. It would probably feel lovely underneath your feet, getting out of bed even. Not sure what it would feel like in something like a Sprinter van, where you got more room and you're walking around in it. It might feel a bit like Mr. Soft. Marmoleum. I was quite surprised in this. It didn't feel like I expected it to feel. Although it looks smooth, it's rougher than I thought. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like the Hexagrip rough, but yeah, it does have a bit of resistance to it. They came in all loads of different designs and colours. You could have them. These are like stone and marble. There was all different kinds of woods, just funky pattern designs, anything you could think of. So they're really good in my eyes. I really like them. Vinyl cushion flooring. This is weird. This feels and looks proper cheap and nasty. No offense to anyone if you've got it. On the back, it's kind of like cotton wool. It's fluffy on the back, and then you've got this vinyl on the top, which is rough. Quite a horrible feel to it. Look at it. Yeah, it's not good, this stuff. It did come in all different colours and wood finishes. It has got a texture. Yeah, it feels like sandpaper, even though it's got the texture of wood. I don't like that at all. Altro vinyl floorings. I would say the Stronghold, the Walkway have got a kind of a texture into them, a slight texture. The Orchestra and Serenade are a lot smoother. Atlas has got a heavy texture into it. Kind of looks like Raptor. Them pair haven't got it, but these lot have all got the glitter in them. if you like that kind of thing, then yeah, Altro is the one for you, because they do loads of finishes with the glitter in them. They do have a range called Altro Wood and Altro Wood Comfort, I think. All wood finishes. Didn't manage to get a sample of that. I tried to, but I think the companies I dealt with thought I was taking the piss with my long list of sample requirements, and they just sent me like half of them. The Orchestra and Serenade a lot smoother. Yeah, you kind of got a pattern in that one, and that one kind of looks like all different colours, really bright colours, sparkly colours, patterns, woods, stones, yeah, pretty much everything you can think of with Altro. They're all pretty much like a dull finish. Feel wise, I mean that one, the Stronghold, that feels like 80 grit sandpaper. The Walkway, that's pretty rough as well, not as rough as the Stronghold. The Atlas is about the same as the Walkway, but that's got more of a gloss finish to it, so it's a bit smoother. These ones, I think they're fine. They feel, well, they're actually rougher than a Marmoleum. I think they're acceptable. I think them ones, they're too rough. You'd start to get the bottoms of your feet would start to be red, I think, if you're sliding them across the floor. Interestingly enough as well, when I cut the walkway on the bandsaw, it must be bits of metal in them, because it was sparking like hell on the bandsaw. So that must be why they're rough. So yeah, that's looks and feel. I mean, if I was to score them, now this is just my personal opinion, this means jack shit. In terms of looks and feel, I would score them like this. So we got that cheap ass nasty stuff at the bottom. Then we got the Hexagrip, because I'm not really a fan of the utility look, and I don't like the feel of that for in the main your living space. Perfect for inside drawers and garage areas, I think, and same goes for the rubber. The Altro more heavy duty ones, I think it looks too much like a bathroom or a kitchen in a massive building, or inside of buses and stuff like that. That's what it reminds me of. We got communal toilets here, and we've got Altro flooring in that, and that's like a bright blue version of that. So yeah, I'm not a fan of them. I do like the EVA foam, but I think it might be a bit weird. Then is the cork. Yeah, an acquired taste, that is. Then we got your more normal Altro floorings, which is the Serenade and the Orchestra. After that, we got the Marmoleums. Although they feel nice, the looks wise, it looks like they're printed, if you get what I mean. It looks like fake floor. I mean, these are meant to be stone. It doesn't look like stone, it just resembles stone. And again, if you add wood on there, you would know it ain't wood. Your normal laminate, that looks like wood. Obviously, I'm preferring the wood look for the floor, but not everyone's gonna want that. So next you got the stone composite, and then we got the vinyl LVT plank, and then hardwood wins, I think. So yeah, that's my looks and feel evaluation. So here we have the thicknesses laid out. Obviously there's no prizes for guessing that hardwood is the thickest. So we got the two different types there, and that is between 12 and 22 mil. EVA foam. Now this is 20 mil. I do believe you can get thinner ones though, but this is the most common one for flooring as such. Cork laminate, and that is 11 mil. Traditional laminate flooring, which is at 6 mil. SPC Stone polymer flooring, that's 5mm. Your normal cork flooring, which is 4.5mm. Altro Atlas, which is 4.2mm. Altro Serenade, that's 4mm. Altro Stronghold, we got the rubber flooring and we got the vinyl cushion flooring. They're all 3mm. The Candine LVT vinyl, that's 2.5mm. The Marmoleum, Altro Walkway, Altro Orchestra, the self-adhesive vinyl plank flooring, and they're all 2mm. And then right at the end, I can't even measure this, the hexagon stuff that's on that birch ply there. So that's your thinnest floor. Although technically it's 12mm because it's 12mm ply, but you would use that as your actual floor to start off with. So on that basis, I mean, hardwood's out, innit? And I don't think I've seen anyone have EVA foam in their van. So that's out. I think the cork laminate, I think that's too thick as well. Although, if you've got something like a Sprinter or a Crafter or whatever, you've got the headroom, you could use that. You've got your traditional laminate flooring. Yeah, it's sort of fine. And then from then on, I think everything else is suitable thickness for a van flooring, to be honest. From like 5mm down, I think is fine. Right, next up is weights. Now, I've cut them all into roughly the same size, what I could get them similar out of the sample sizes they sent me. And I ain't gonna go into how much they weigh per square meter and stuff like that. I'm just gonna tell you which is heavier or which is lighter based on the sample sizes that I have. We're not gonna go crazy technical. And I haven't weighed the hardwood because it's attached on this thing and it's 3 pieces. It's bloody heavy. That's all you need to know. It's the heaviest. We all knew that anyway. So I've weighed them on just this little scale here because it goes down really low, and I've written all the figures down, so let's go through them. So from heaviest to lightest, heaviest is the hardwood. Then we got the stone laminate, which is 56 grams. Cork laminate at 53 grams. Altro Atlas at 43 grams. The Candine LVT vinyl, 38 grams. Then you got your normal wood laminate at 34. Altro Stronghold at 32. Self-adhesive vinyl plank, 27 grams. After that you got the rubber, 26 grams. Altro Orchestra and Altro Serenade, both at 22 grams each. Next is the Marmoleum at 21. This was quite surprising. I thought this would have been lighter. The EVA foam, that's 18. Then you got your normal cork at 15. The vinyl cushion at 10. And then obviously this plywood weighs more than this, but if you're using this as the actual floor, then that hexagon coating weighs nothing. So yeah, based on that, we got your heavy ones this side and your lighter ones that side. I'm quite surprised about the Candine LVT. I was kind of rooting for that to be lighter, but unfortunately not. I think you want to be like middle of the pack or down that end for a van. I just realised I missed one out. It was underneath the EVA foam, and that was Altro Walkway. So that was 18 grams as well, same as the EVA foam. So yeah, based on that, I think your Altro Serenade and Orchestra are pretty ideal. Your Altro Walkway, the Marmoleums, the corks, probably get away with the Stronghold, and even that's quite good considering the other vinyl plank is heavier. This just your normal self-adhesive vinyl plank, in the middle of the range there. You don't want the hardwood and you don't want the stone laminate either. And yeah, I think the cork laminate is out now, and the Altro Atlas, I think that's too heavy. Next we got smell. Now sample sizes like this, they're not giving off much odour, but if you got quite a lot of a material in it and it's got a smell to it, then you're gonna smell it. Found that out with my wool insulation. Although once you cover it up, you can't smell it. Before I covered it up, it smelled like a sheep in there. If we go through it, this might be quite hard because some of them might not smell, and you're gonna have to take my word for it as well. Yeah, that's got a nice smell. Smells like wood. The vinyl planks. I inhaled something then. That hasn't got a smell. Tiny whiff of like a plastic smell to that one. The stone composite smells a bit like a tile, like a ceramic tile kind of thing. These four so far, well, the wood had the most smell, but these three here, well, hardly any smell at all. I'm having to take a proper whiff of that. That smells like the hardwood, which is the laminate flooring. The Marmoleum. Now, if ever you've done Lino printing in school or something, if you can remember back that far, that's exactly the same as that. It's got a very, that's the smelliest so far, but it smells nice. Very like a natural kind of smell. It doesn't smell man-made or anything, and that's because it's all natural products actually. Then I think we'll do all the Altros together. Yeah, these are like kind of like plasticky smells. The walkway hasn't got hardly any smell. Serenade has got a little bit. Orchestra, hardly anything. Atlas is probably got the most smell. Yeah, quite plasticky. Yeah, and Stronghold is very similar. So yeah, they're quite plasticky, like a chemically smell. Cork, you all know what cork smells like. I would say that's quite a nice smell, like a dry smell, and natural. Yeah. Oh, my nose is gone now. EVA foam, hardly anything. Rubber, that's probably the smelliest so far. Yeah, like a rubber chemically smell. Now the plywood, you can smell the resins in that, but also wood. Now if you're building a camper van, then you're going to be using plywood in it, so you know what plywood smells like, and that's what that smells like. The hexagon coating alters it in no way at all. Although this plywood apparently does have a different resin in it. I don't know how you pronounce it, polyphonic or polyphonic or something resin, meant to be more durable and waterproof and stuff like that. You'd have to look it up really. And then we got the cheaper nasty stuff. It kind of smells like fabric, and that's probably because it's got the woolly stuff on the back, but then also it smells like plastic. So that's laid out as your how strong the smells are. So we got rubber at the top, then we got Marmoleum, cork, these two, the more heavy duty Altros, then the rest of the Altros, hardwood, laminate floor, the cushion flooring, the stone flooring, your vinyl plank, EVA foam, and then the Hexagrip ply. If I want to put it in my opinion of nicest smells, I'm going to put the hardwood at the top, then the Marmoleum, then the cork, the rubber at the bottom, the Altros, and that cushion floor in there. These lot in the middle, this, you can't even smell them really, they haven't really got a smell, so they're not applicable. These ones, I would say the nicest smells, you got your nice natural hardwood, your normal laminate flooring, the Marmoleum and the cork. The least desirable smells is the rubber, all the Altros and the cheapy cushion flooring. In my opinion, doesn't mean I'm right. So the next test I'm going to do is, I'm going to do two at the same time. How waterproof they are and how slippery they become once they're wet. There are actual scales and numbers and letters and stuff determining how slippery materials are. I'm not going to go into all that because the figures and graphs and numbers was mind-boggling. So I'm just going to do just your normal real person test, putting some water on it and going like that, seeing how slippery it is. It would be better if I had samples this big and I could stand on it, but that ain't happening. No company's gonna send me samples that big, and I ain't forking out for samples that big either. Right, let's start off on the floor because I don't want water all over my tablecloth. I'm gonna start off with the wood laminate, and it's got a kettle. It's not boiled, and we'll pour it on there. And I think we'll leave it 5 seconds because that's pretty much, we got the 5-second rule. And then we'll see if any is soaked in. None is soaked in. Obviously laminate flooring is finished off with something because it's based on MDF. If it wasn't finished then it would soak into the MDF. But yeah, you haven't got to worry about spillages with laminate flooring. Let's see how slippery it is. That's very slippery. Marmoleum. We'll try that again. It was like Jeff Goldblum with Chaos Theory then. Yeah, that's waterproof as well. None soaked into that. It does have a resistance. Yeah. Obviously I'm going to have to compare all these, so I'll lay them out after. Stone flooring, your stone laminate, composite. No, that's fine. Most of these are finished off with stuff so that it doesn't soak in. So let's see how slippery it is when it's wet. Even though that's quite rough, the texture, once it's wet, that you can't even hardly feel the texture, especially going with the grain. That way you can, but that is quite a hell of a lot slippery than I thought. The cushion flooring. Now that has left the top of it wet. It has, I don't know whether it's soaked in, but it's gripped to it. It's gone in all the grooves and stuff, so harder to wipe up. And let's see how slippery it becomes as well. It's still pretty rough, so I don't think that's very slippery. So next we got the self-adhesive plank. It hasn't soaked in. Tiny bit is left going into the texture, but hardly anything. It's pretty much the same as the stone flooring. The one way you got a lot of grip, the other way you haven't if you go with the grain. I'm betting the Cardine is going to be exactly the same. Yeah, nothing left over. Yeah, exactly the same for slippery. as the other wood effects. So now we do rubber, and we know nothing's going to absorb into this. Yeah, just run straight off. It's very grippy even when wet. It's probably even more grippy EVA foam. Very slightly absorbent. It has soaked in a little bit. It's not that slippery, it's got resistance to it. Bit slipperier than what it was without the water, but yeah, most absorbent so far. Altro. Yeah, nothing is absorbed into that. That's got loads of grip because of all the sharp particles in it. I won't do them all because they're all pretty much the same, so I'll pick another one that's got the different texture. So this is a smoother one. Yeah, they're all waterproof. That's a lot slipperier, if that's a word. The cork. No, nothing's absorbed into that. That's very slippery. I'm betting the cork laminate can be the same, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's even more slippery than the last one, actually. And then we got the Hexagrip stuff. Very waterproof. That's not slippery at all. We've got loads of grip on that. And we do the hardwood. I'm not sure if that's slightly absorbed it, a tiny bit. I'm not sure whether you're meant to finish it once it's laid down. And that is very slippery as well. In terms of water resistance, the scale is pretty short. The EVA foam did absorb it, not a huge amount, but it did go in, and there were signs of it absorbing in the hardwood as well, very slightly. Next one was the cushion flooring. It didn't absorb it, but it wouldn't run off it. It stayed on the surface, and then from then on everything was totally water resistant. But if we're measuring it in terms of this, like the cushion flooring where water stays on the surface, the ones that have got a texture left a little bit behind on the surface, it didn't absorb, and then the Hexagrip was after that, and then all the others, it just ran off, that there was no trace of water left behind at all. I thought that would be totally waterproof, but it's not. But in terms of slipperiness, I would say the Hexagrip has got the most grip when wet, followed very closely behind by the rubber. The rubber, when it's gripping, is probably more grippy than the Hexagrip, but then it tends to lose its grip and then regain it again. And I'm basing this on if you had a really long mat of it and you're trying to slide across it. That's what I'm thinking in my head anyway. Next, you got the Altro Stronghold. That has got, it's basically like 80 grit sandpaper sticking up. Loads of grip with that. Next, you got the Altro Atlas. Bit smoother. Surprising one then was the cushion flooring, the vinyl cushion. That was quite grippy. You've got the Altro Walkway, and then the other Altros, so Altro Orchestra and Serenade. Obviously there's more Altros than this as well. These are just the samples that I've got, but they didn't have any of the metal particles on the surface of them, so they're quite smooth, so obviously more slippery. Then you've got the Marmoleums. I think the Marmoleum and the EVA foam are pretty similar. I'd probably put them in the the same really. After that then it kind of drops a bit. The vinyl composite LVT planks and the SBC flooring, they're all grippy in one direction against the grain. You go with the grain and then they're really slippery. And then at the end you got your wood laminate, your hardwood and the cork. They're all like a death trap once they get wet. Right, we got a fun one now. We're gonna do durability tests. So for this, I'm just gonna use a screwdriver, see how well they scratch, or how easy they scratch. I'm gonna do an impact test. I got a pointy hammer, and I'm just gonna let it drop onto it and see what is left after it. I'm not gonna go cracking it, because that's just not realistic, but you may drop something like that and then you got your nice flooring and then you're like, oh man, put a dent in it. So we got that one, and then I've got some 180 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna go like that, as if you've just come in off a gravel trail or something, and then you've walked into your van, and I don't know, maybe your bottom of your feet, bottom of your shoes are damp as well, and you slid your shoe along. Is that then gonna ruin your floor? So we'll start off with the Hexagrip ply. So first of all, I'm gonna start off with the Hexagrip with the screwdriver, and pretty light passes with the screwdriver. It does mark it. I just got a bit of G3 here, polishing compound. So let's see if the marks come out with a bit of polish. And they do. There's one scratch left, which I probably pressed harder on earlier. So if you press really hard, you're gonna go into the wood there and create a groove into it. But that was me pressing really hard. Sandpaper test. So first look, it's marked it, but it wipes off. So it's just the leftovers of the sandpaper. So that's really good. I'm not gonna go sanding for ages, because you're not gonna do that in a van. Just one pass will do. And now the hammer test. Yeah, like I thought, it has put a big dent in it. We'll try it out on the hardwood, see if I can do it right on the corner, because I gotta give it back. Yeah, that marks it. Does it polish off though? Slightly, although I don't know whether the hardwood has absorbed the polish. No, it's still marked, so that's quite easy to mark. I'm just going to do it again, slightly on the corner, and the sandpaper marks it as well. No, and yeah, that has dented it. Laminate flooring. I can't see anything on there, fair play. Obviously, all these things have got different finishes as well. Right, so that held up to light scratching, amazing, but same as the Hexagrip, if I press really hard, it gouges into the wood and leaves it there. Nothing. Fair play. Holds up against the hammer better than the Hexagrip and the hardwood, but still very tiny. I don't know whether you can see it. very tiny crater there. The cushion flooring. They've marked. Yeah, it comes off with polish. If I do it really hard, yeah, it's gonna mark it, and polish isn't getting that off, I don't think. Better than the woods though. You can't feel it, but you can see it. It has marked it. Well, no. Yeah. But the polish gets rid of it. I didn't think the hammer was going to do anything then, but it has left a crater in it. But, it's actually more than the laminate. Next we got the Cardine. Nothing really with the soft screwdriver. If I go hard, if I go against the grain, because that went right in one of the grains then. Yeah, that's gone right in. Yeah, that's going to leave a permanent mark. That has marked it. There's still some remains of it. And finally the hammer. That's probably survived the best from the hammer so far. There's hardly anything there. Next we got the self-adhesive version. That's really good. There's nothing left from that. Now we go hard. Yeah. That was worse than the Cardine going hard, which is interesting. Sandpaper. I'll show you a closer look. I don't know whether you can get it on the camera. See, it leaves a mark there. We'll try some polish. Now, still visible with the polish. Although, with these things, if you went over the whole thing, then with some sandpaper, it would look like it's meant to be like it. So maybe that's an option if you've scratched your floor. Get your sandpaper out. Now we got the SPC stone composite. There's nothing from that. Again, it's gouged into it. It's the vinyl part that it gouges into. That's exactly the same as the other vinyl planks. I can't even see where that landed. Let's do it again. Well, that is the best so far. There's hardly anything. That's really good against the impact test. Next we do the Marmoleum. Yeah, it has left slight marks. Ooh. Big prominent mark there from pressing harder. Let's see how well they polish out. They don't. Failed on the scratch test. Let's do the sandpaper test. Yeah, same with that. Yeah, the hammer leaves a slight. I don't know whether my camera's focusing on this. EVA foam. Yeah, damages the surface. I don't know whether you can get it on there. Can you see it? Press hard. Yeah, and you proper gouge in it then. Sandpaper, I think it should do okay though. Yeah, nothing off the sandpaper. and nothing off the hammer, it just bounced off it. Next we'll do rubber. Ooh, I didn't think that would have marked it, but it does. It polish off though. Polish is off, but the rubber doesn't like the polish. It goes dull. Let's press hard. You can't feel it, but you can see it. Sandpaper test. Yeah, it takes the shine away from it, same as the polish. Nothing from the hammer. Our cork. So we do the cork composite first. Absolutely nothing from the light screwdriver. And the hard screwdriver is done really well. You can only see it if the light catches it. And you can feel it as well, but if the light isn't capturing it, you can't see it at all. So that's quite good. And the hammer. Again, you can't see it, but I can feel it. Let's try the other one. Probably be exactly the same. Yeah, really good against light scratches. Slightly, yeah, worse on the hard scratch. Don't know how this one proved better, although it's a lot harder than this one. Don't know why. So yeah, you can see the hard scratch in that. Did I do the sandpaper? I don't know. Sandpaper test, it has discoloured it. This one you can see the scratches from the sandpaper, but let's try and see if the polish brings this one back. Yeah, can't see the sandpaper at all in that anymore now I've put some polish on it. So let's go back to this one and hammer test it. That has left a big crater in it. Last up, we got the Altros. So Altro walkway first. That scratches. Now I remember seeing someone on one of the Campervan groups on Facebook, and they were moaning that they had put their flooring down and hadn't finished constructing their van yet, and then they had marked their Altro flooring whilst building their van, which they were quite gutted about. And that kind of confirms it, that yeah, that's marking it. Let's press hard. Yeah. Let's see if the polish takes it off though. If the polish takes it off, because he either had Altro Contracts or Altro Walkway, which are very similar. If it does take it off, then maybe I'll message him and tell him. That has taken off the light scratches. It hasn't got rid of the hard scratch, but it's taken off the light ones. So yeah, if you've scratched your Altro flooring lightly, get some G3 on it. Oh, hardly any mark in that at all. Right, I'm going to do the rest of them all together, because they're all pretty much the same. So, well, turns out they're not the same. Orchestra hasn't scratched at all. Atlas has. I suppose it depends on the colour as well. Stronghold hasn't. Serenade hasn't either. That's weird. So it seems the ones with the slightly more glossy finish and harder texture scratch. The ones with a dull surface and heavy texture don't. And the ones with a dull surface and smooth texture don't. Serenade did really well against the hard screwdriver. Stronghold, you can see it. Atlas, you can see it even more. And Orchestra, you can see it. How can you see it in Serenade then? Actually you can. But the best out of all of them, sandpaper, yeah, you can see that. That done quite well, the Orchestra on the sandpaper test. That you can see loads on the Atlas. Stronghold, can't see at all. Right, hammer test. I missed. Nothing in Orchestra, nothing in Serenade, nothing in Atlas, nothing in Stronghold. Right, well they're the best, apart from the EVA foam, against the hammer. Right, durability results. I've just put them into piles really from best to worst. So worst was the hardwood. Scratched really easy on the light scratch test. Next up from that was your rubber and your EVA foam. It left marks in them after that, but you couldn't feel them. They're visible. Next after that was the Marmoleums and the Altro Atlas. Left marks in them. Next up was Altro Walkway. That left scratches, but you could polish them out. After that was the corks and the Hexagrip plywood. Really good against the scratches. The plywood, they were slightly visible, but then they polished out to nothing. The best were all the vinyls, really. So the cushion flooring, the LVT planks, the stone polymer composite, the laminate wood, and then Altro Serenade, Altro Orchestra and Altro Stronghold. Nothing, absolutely no marks whatsoever. Right, now I've laid them out on how well they perform against hard gouge. I can't imagine that that is actually going to happen in a campervan floor, but you never know if you slid in and you got a rock stuck to your shoe. The one that performed the worst was the EVA foam. It just tore into it, which was quite surprising. I thought that was going to be the best, but oh well. Next after that you had your hardwoods and your the hex wood and the laminate wood. Understandably, because they're rock hard, it just gouged right into them. Cork, just normal cushion cork flooring, kind of tore into it. LVT and your SPC plank flooring, because they got vinyl on the surface and it's basically, yeah, plastic on the surface, ragged it right up. Then we start to get better. We got the Altro Atlas and your cork laminate. You can't feel it anymore now with your nail, but you can see it. The cork is slightly better than the Altro, because the cork you can only really see it when the light catches it, whereas the Altro is just visually marked it. You can't feel it. After the Altro Atlas, we got Serenade and Orchestra. They did better on the heavy scratch. You almost can't feel it, but you can see it. This is where it starts to get much better. Then we got the rubber. You can't feel it at all from the heavy scratch, but it kind of just discolors the surface so that you can see it visible. Put some polish on it then, and it did dye it down, but then the polish discolors the rubber for some reason. After that, we got Altro Walkway, which I was quite surprised. You can't feel it, and you almost can't see it. And then you got the Altro Stronghold, same again, almost can't see it. Surprisingly, the cheap and nasty cushion flooring did the best. It just looks like one of the light scratches on one of these other ones. Can't feel it at all, and just a very slight mark. The rubber almost won. It's only the fact that it changes the colour on the whole thing. If you try and polish it out, that I've marked it back a bit. And if you don't polish it, the heavy scratch looks white. So that's the only reason why it got marked down a few there. Right, next, hammer test. Now I'm using a panel beater's hammer, which has got the pointy end on it, so there's quite a lot of pressure exerted on that. And going from best to worst, best was the EVA foam, just bounced off it. All this lot is probably the same as the EVA foam, but I'm putting the EVA foam one better because, like I said, it just bounced off it. These ones, so we got all the Altros and the rubber, left no mark whatsoever. Then we had the stone polymer flooring, which I was very surprised about considering how hard this stuff is. The mark is probably 1.5 to 2 mil wide. Then we got the two LVTs flooring, the cork composite and the Marmoleum. Then the mark left behind was about 3 mil to 3.5 mil wide from the hammer. Surprisingly again, the hardwood and the wood laminate, that was about 3.5 mil, so similar to them. After that, you got the cushion flooring and the thinner cork floorings. They left a mark about, I would say, 4 mil wide. The cushion flooring was much deeper than the cork. And then, well, actually, I would say the cork next, then the cushion and the hexa ply. They were about the same width, but they went in deeper, so more of a pronounced crater. So that's the results from the hammer test, so the high impact test. I could do a test on how rigid and bendy the materials are, but once your floor is down, then you ain't going to be bending it as such, are you? So I don't think I really need to do that, but I'll just mention it anyway. Obviously all the woods, the most rigid, followed by the luxury vinyl planks. Actually the cork laminate is really rigid as well. Next you got the luxury vinyl planks. I'll stick the SPC with the cork as well. All the Altro and the Marmoleums there, and the corks. The Hexagrip is with the woods. I would say the EVA foam is after them, and then you've got the rubber and the cushion flooring on the end. That's how flexible they are, if you needed to know that. Although I suppose how rigid and how flexible something is kind of has an effect on our next test, which is how easy it is to fit. Something that is more flexible, you can roll it up, you can fold it up and stuff and carry it underneath your arm, and you can put it in the van. It's easier to get it in like that. Whereas something rigid, much harder to get around things. First part of this test is just about how easy it is to cut. So what I've done it off screen so far. On this side, obviously your hex wood and your hardwoods, you're gonna have to cut them with a saw. There's no other way of doing it. So either circular saw, jigsaw, bandsaw, anything like that, you're gonna have to mark it out. You're gonna have to take templates to go around things and then cut them out with them saws. So in my opinion, they're the hardest to fit. Followed closely behind by your wood laminate, the SPC stone composite flooring, and the cork composite as well. There's no other way of cutting them either, other than like a jigsaw or whatever, and they're fully rigid. You got your luxury vinyl planks. Now you can then cut them with shears, so cuts the corner off, but what I've found is you've got to be careful. Sometimes it can break in the odd time, but that came off pretty well. So yeah, shears can cut them. I'm not sure if a blade can. Right, a blade can, but it takes like 3 goes pressing hard, so don't know whether you'd want to do that. Next, after that, you've got Altro Stronghold. Shears and a blade can cut that. A little bit easier was then Altro Atlas, and then we're starting to get much easier. Just your normal cork flooring, you can cut with a blade quite easy. There you go, cut the corner off. And then after that we got your Altro Walkway, Orchestra, Serenade, and the Marmoleums. Both shears and blade cut them pretty easy. Even easier was the rubber, really easy with the blade. And then top of the list, again, the cheap and nasty cushion flooring. A piece of piss to cut through that. Really easy to cut the EVA foam as well with the blade. Can't cut through it with the scissors. Scissors don't like it, especially when it's 20mm thick. You might have a better go at it if it was 10mm thick. Cuts real easy with the blade. It just goes right into it. I mean, that has just cut through it 10mm on one pass, really. So yeah, that's cutting wise. Another factor that we have to take into account is the way they come. So all this lot comes on a roll. So you've got all your Altros, your Marmoleums, they come on a roll. Your cushion flooring, your rubber is on a roll. The cork doesn't come on a roll, but either can come in a huge sheet of it, or they do tiles as well. So if you order it in a huge sheet big enough, then it's kind of considered the same as roll. Actually, I'll put them by there. One step harder than all these lot on a roll. So you can get it to size, but obviously it's not going to be as manageable as on a roll. Next up, we got the EVA foam. That comes in tiles, and they just all interlock together just by pushing on them, real easy. After that, we got the LVT flooring, your cork composite, the SBC composite, and your wood laminate. Obviously, they all come in packs, they're all interlocked together. Obviously, visually, if they would look, then they look as if they're like 3 planks wide maybe, but reality, that's all within 1 plank. So each plank covers a bigger area than it does visually, if you get what I mean. And then they all interlock with each other. We're getting harder to install. A little bit harder again is your hardwood. So that comes individual planks of each piece of wood. And then, depends on which way you look at this. This is the hardest, so it comes as in either a 8x4 sheet, or they might do a slightly bigger one of the hex plywood. The van is bigger than that, so you're going to need more than 1 sheet. But then also it could be the easiest, it could be that end, because you got to put your 12mm ply in the van to begin with anyway. And then if you pick this, then you haven't got to do any more for the actual flooring, because that stuff is already on the top. So you've skipped a step. It could actually be the winner. How susceptible they are to stain. Now this test could go on for hours, because you could test it against all different kinds of things on how produce stains. I'm not going to do that. I've just got some acrylic paint here, brown. I'm just going to see how much that absorbs into something, if it does at all. Otherwise we'd be here all day. So I've just got some blue tissue and a cup of water, and I'm going to see how well. I'm going to wipe it off with that and then see what remains. So we'll try it on the hardwood first. Totally come off the hardwood. So I did the hardwood right there. There's no remains of the paint. We do the wood laminate. Again, hasn't stained. The Hexagrip, that hasn't stained. Now the SPC. I think all that's gone. Now the LVTs. Yeah, they're good. Rubber. Yeah, that's all good. Right, EVA foam. I don't think this is going to do very well. Although, hang on. No, actually it's done well. But let's see what happens if you leave it on there. No, still did well. It's all gone. I thought that was going to absorb into it. The cork. That's all good. The cork composite. That's all good. Marmoleum. That's all good. The cushion flooring. Yeah, even that one did okay. Let's do all the Altros together. No, none of them either. So yeah, not a crazy accurate test on the stain test, I will admit. If you can think of something else that you want me to test on these samples, because I'm going to keep them, then I will be much obliged and I will do a stain test if you can think of something. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going through loads of different stains to see if they absorb into it. And if you spill something that you think is going to stain, 9 times out of 10 you're going to try and wipe it up straight away. So in this case, acrylic paint, yeah, didn't mark him at all as long as you wiped it up straight away. I think apart from the EVA foam, everything else, maybe the hardwood as well. Hardwood and EVA foam, I think if you left the stain on there, you didn't realise and you left it to soak in, you'd have a harder job getting rid of it. I think everything else would be fine. I was going to do two more separate tests after this on how easy it was to get them dirty and how easy they were to clean, but I've kind of covered them in this stain test. So anything with a grain, and obviously lighter colours as well, doesn't matter what you look at. So all these ones, the laminates and the LVTs were all, and the hardwood were all easier to dirty. Even the cushion flooring as well, because that's got a grain in it, because obviously the grain helps lock in the dirt, followed afterwards by the Hexagrip and the EVA foam somewhere around there as well, because it's slightly absorbent. Everything else with the smooth surfaces, so all your rubbers, marmoleums, corks, followed by the smooth Altros. I'll put the other Altros just one step behind them with their like sandpaper surface. The rougher it is and the more grain it's got into it, is the easier it is to dirty, because it just gets trapped in there. But all of them, as you've seen on the video, I just got blue tissue and water, and there's no traces of the paint left over, so I can't imagine mud would be any harder. Now the only test that I don't really know how to get results from, and I don't actually understand the figures that are out there on the internet, if I could find any as well, is on how well things offer sound deadening. All I do know on the Altro range is that the Altro Serenade and the Altro Orchestra are designed for their sound deadening properties. I'm not actually sure how the other Altros fare up against that, because they all look pretty similar in their construction. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm pretty sure cork offers sound deadening qualities as well, and we know the EVA foam does because that's closed cell foam. That's what I've already got in the van with the silver foil on it, so that does off. That's probably the best. I'm not sure what wood does. So yeah, EVA foam wins. Next test I'm going to do, just for shits and giggles, is the fireproof test. How well they burn. Now don't get me wrong, you're sitting in a van that's got fuel in it, so yeah, once they catch fire they go up. And obviously campervan's got loads of plywood inside normally, which we know is combustible. But just gonna see what all these lot do, like if you put a lighter to them. The only one I can't set fire to is the hardwood because it's not mine, so we'll leave that one to one side. So, fire test results. My lighter bit the dust and burnt the end of my thumb as well. That was surprising, especially for the woods. I thought the woods were gonna go up, but I couldn't get the laminate flooring or the hexa ply to catch fire. I mean, they burned, but I mean the hexa ply even less than the laminate flooring. Well, I couldn't get them to stay on fire, so I just put them into piles. The ones that did the best were the Marmoleum, the Candine LVT plank stuff, and the GP cushion floor. I thought that was gonna go up, but it didn't. Couldn't get it to set fire to. And yeah, the two wooden ones, for some reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, if there's an inferno going, no matter what's in there, is gonna be lighting up in it. But I'm just treating it on the fact of how easy it is to catch fire. And I couldn't get any of them to actually form a flame on them. Again, with the SBC stone composite, the backing of that melted, but the actual center of it, which is limestone I believe, obviously that didn't catch fire at all. So it's only basically the backing of that is combustible. All the Altros, they wouldn't catch fire either. They just kind of frazzled and burnt away. Mainly the backing of them. The top surface is pretty much fireproof. I couldn't get anything to happen on that. Yeah, just the backing's melted and stuff. Then was the self-adhesive vinyl plank. That kind of melted a bit. The composite one did slightly better than the normal cork matting, but they all caught fire. The rubber, as expected, caught fire. It did do a little bit better than I thought though, but that might have been because the wind was blowing slightly. But yeah, we know rubber burns. And the worst of the bunch was the EVA foam. That proper went up and even started blim burns dripping off it. Yeah, considerably worse than all the rest of them. Okay, another important one, price. All the pennies count when building a camper van. Now, I tried my best to get the prices on these. Obviously, depending on where you go, depends on the price as well. I didn't go looking at every single website for each and every product. I just went on one website. Each sample as well, or nearly every sample, had a range between the lowest and the highest price as well, depending on the effect or the pattern on it or whatever. They were all pretty much the same thing, but depending what color you went for, some were dearer. I've written on them the prices. I haven't written on the hardwood because it's not mine, and that one had the biggest range depending on where you go and what product it is for the real wood hardwood. Cheapest I could find was around £20 per metre squared, and then it went up to well over £110 per metre squared. So yeah, nice one. Yeah, all these prices are in metre squared. Some products you can't get by metre squared, they're either bigger or smaller, so I worked it out from the price that I did find. So cheapest, and this is surprising, I didn't think this was going to be the cheapest, is your self-adhesive vinyl plank, and that was £11.50 per metre squared, which is bloody good. Next up for that is your EVA foam and your rubber. The EVA foam doesn't come by the metre squared, it's 50 centimetre panels normally, and this was for a wood effect. Obviously different thicknesses, different prices as well, and different colours, different prices, but that's what I found for a wood effect if you wanted that. That was £14 per metre squared, and so was the rubber matting. I've actually bought a roll of that. Another massive range, depending on what you go for, is just your normal wood laminate. The cheapest I could find was £16, and then it went up to over £76 per metre squared. So I've put them in order of their cheapest price. After that was your first Altro one at £19 per metre squared. That was the Altro walkway, which is a suitable one for a van, so that's worth remembering. I think the Contracts is around that price as well. I didn't have a sample for that one though. Another surprising one, considering how luxury it is the SPC stone polymer composite flooring. That was between £20 and £28 per metre squared. And then this surprised the hell out of me as well. I thought this was going to be the cheapest because of how cheap and nasty it is, and that was the cushion flooring. That was £21 metre squared. So you got this lovely stuff, looks really good, and then you got this absolute naff stuff by here, and it's dearer. What the hell? I don't get it. There we are. Marmoleum, not bad, 22 to 44 pounds, depending on what pattern you went for. Just the normal glue down cork, that was between 25 and 48, depending on the pattern. Then the Candine luxury vinyl plank or luxury vinyl tile, that was between 32 and 60. So again, a bit expensive now. Then we got the Altro Serenade, that was £40 per metre squared. Then we got the Altro Orchestra, 47, and doesn't really make sense because the Serenade is thicker. I don't know. Then the cork composite, that's between £49 and £74, there or thereabouts, depending on the pattern. Then you got your Altro Stronghold, about £60 per metre squared. Next is the Altro Atlas. This is the dearest one, £88 per metre squared, but that's the most heavy duty one they do, I think. And then what blew me away with this, the Hex pattern plywood. That's £140 per metre squared. Now, if you're looking at it in terms of you don't have to then buy a flooring because this is already your floor, and you've got your flooring built into it, then you kind of think that you've got a free flooring on it anyway. But it turns out that's not the case, because if you compare this plywood, 8x4 sheet of it, compared to a normal sheet of 8x4 ply, then this is about 370 odd pounds dearer than a normal sheet of ply, which is ridiculous. This is £417 for an 8x4 sheet, when a normal sheet of ply is £40, I think. And if you get the trade discount, I think it's about 36 or 37. Obviously, if you go for your lightweight plies, then they're dearer, but I haven't included that because it's not a flooring, it's a floor. Whereas this has got the flooring included. I'm not sure the weight of this compared to lightweight ply. If it's around the same weight as lightweight ply, and you fancy like the utility kind of look, then maybe, and you're going to be decking your van out with lightweight ply, you're willing to spend that kind of money on those sheets, then maybe this might be a better option, because they might be the same sort of price, and then you get the Hex pattern flooring included for free. Too dear for me. Right, last but not least, we got R values. Now this is probably the most technical one for me, and it was hard to find the actual figures as well, and they're not specific figures, they actually have ranges. So the one that, and we'll start off with the ones that offer the most insulation down to the ones that offer the least insulation. So the higher the number, it gives them more insulation. So to start off with, we got the warmest, or the one that gives the most insulation, is EVA foam, and that's somewhere between 2 and 4 R value. And I'm pretty sure all these figures are in American format as well. I couldn't find any UK, because it's measured, it involves thicknesses and stuff like that, and obviously Americans don't use metric, so pretty sure all these R values are based on American systems. Cork, your normal cork, which is 1.13 R value, and then after that you've got the cork laminate. I didn't get an actual figure for this, but I'm just guessing that it's slightly less than that cork because the cork is thinner on this, and then it has some MDF in the middle. It could actually be more, but we'll just say it's around the same as that, 1.13 anyway. After that we got hardwood, which is between 0.6 and 0.75 R value. Then you got Marmoleum, which is 0.53. After that we got your normal laminate, which is between 0.25 and 0.5. Then you got rubber, which is 0.2. Birch ply with a hexagon pattern on it at 0.1. The Altro floorings, it was hard, I couldn't hardly find any flipping R values for these Altro floorings. But if we skip them ones, we got these ones, which are the thinner ones, and they're at 0.07 on the R value, and that is also the Candine LVT vinyl. It's also the cushion vinyl. So because these ones are slightly thicker, they're going to be slightly higher on the R value, but I don't actually know what it is. And then the coldest, or the one that offers the least insulation, is the stone polymer composite at 0.03. So to sum that up, I don't think anyone is looking for insulation in their flooring, to be honest. It's more decorative and to have something hard wearing, and so any spillages don't soak into your floor and stuff like that. But if you can get one that adds added insulation, then I think that's a good bonus, to be honest. This stuff, which has the highest R value, the EVA foam, if you've got close-cell foam insulation underneath your floor already, well then that's basically the same stuff as that anyway. The interesting ones, I think, is the cork flooring, which would be a good choice, which is really high for a thin flooring. I mean, at, what was it, at 4.5mm thick, and you got the second highest insulation rating. Well, that's pretty damn good in my book. Another interesting one, which is even thinner, and it's the Marmoleum. So that's a really good one in my opinion. And then from then on, they all get about the same, to be honest. There isn't much difference then, except the SPC one at the bottom. That offered hardly anything. But there you are. Hopefully that helps you out in some way, or maybe you're not even thinking about it, but it's a bonus on whatever you pick. So, conclusion time. What do I think? I'll do like my thoughts on each one, I suppose. Hardwood is too expensive. It's too thick. That's not what she said. Sorry. Too heavy. You don't want that in a camper van. The hex pattern. You can save a lot of time and effort by having this, and yeah, a lot of grip. Doesn't burn really. If you pick this, then you're gonna save weight because it doesn't weigh any more than your normal ply. Like I said, I haven't compared it to lightweight ply. It's not going to take up any more thickness either. Only downside about this is the price and how it looks, in my opinion. So if you're going for that kind of look and you're willing to spend the money, then that is a good option. It's worth taking note of that. So a worthwhile contender, I think. Laminate flooring, it's one of the more difficult floorings to fit. It's quite heavy. You can get some cheap ones, but then there's also some dear ones. In my opinion, it's a bit too much faff for what it is. EVA foam. I don't think I'd have this on a camper van just for the way it flipping burns, to be honest. It's not good. Although it's nice and squidgy, I think that would irritate me a little bit. It would remind me too much of a gym on the floor as well. I just think it'd be a bit awkward, especially at 20mm thick as well. And like I said, the interlocking tiles, it's not ideal for a van. So yeah, that's out. Although it is good at insulation, and it is cheap relatively. So that's out. Rubber flooring. Awesome for inside your garage area at the back of your van, if you've got one. Really light, really hard wearing, cheap. It just smells, has a funky smell to it, and yeah, it doesn't really look the best, to be honest. We'll put that there with the hex wood. Cork laminate, bit dear for my liking, bit too thick, bit too heavy as well. It did burn, and yeah, it's an acquired taste, that. Bit awkward to fit as well. So yeah, that one I think is out. The normal cork, on the other hand, is a bit cheaper, so that's better, and easy to fit. That is good, but you gotta want the look of it. That's just your run-of-the-mill pattern. There was more fancier ones, but then they went up in price. Yeah, that one's not too bad. The Candine LVT, LVP flooring, not a bad price. The thickness is right. The weight is okay. Really durable. Looks fantastic. That's one of my top picks, to be honest. Although it is a little bit dear, depending on the pattern you go for. So I'm going to put that one at the top. The SPC stone polymer composite, bit too thick in my eyes. Apart from that, I mean, passed every other test. It's a really good product, and for what it is, I mean, it looks exactly the same as the Candine, but it's way cheaper. It's just a bit too thick, to be honest. So we'll put that one away as well. We won't have that. The cushion flooring. Piss off. Shite, absolute shite. Horrible stuff. The self-adhesive vinyl plank. Well, to me, that's as good as the Candine, but way cheaper and easy to fit as well. You just peel the back of it, and it's super sticky. There. It's just as good as the Candine LVP, but it's more than half the price of it. So yeah, really good, really good. We'll put that at the top as well. The Marmoleum, really good because it's a natural product, it's a sustainable product. Apparently you can recycle it as well. It has antibacterial properties. Forgot to mention the cork has that as well, antibacterial, and it's a natural product. Really nice, not a bad price, easy to fit. You might think it has quite a nice smell, I do. It's just got a bit of a fake look to it, but how much time do you spend looking at the floor? Not as durable, I don't think, as the LVP or LVT stuff in terms of scratching. We'll put that at the top as well. The Altros. I don't like the look of them, to be honest. They're, I wish I did have the wood effect. I might change my mind with the wood effect. Taking the style and appearance away from them, really good product. Some of them were less durable than others in terms of scratching and stuff. None of them burned. They're all pretty anti-slip proof, some even more than others. Some of them you wouldn't want in a camper van at all, especially the Stronghold. It's just too rough. It's like 80 grit sandpaper. So that one's out. I think the Atlas is out as well. Walkway, I can just about put up with that one. And then you got your Orchestra and Serenade, which is more ideal, especially as they have acoustic properties, so they offer some kind of sound deadening. They're a bit more cushiony to the feel as well. If we can find them in a better pattern and colour, then I will put them at the top as well. So top picks: Altro Orchestra, Altro Serenade, if you can get them in a better style colour than that. Your Marmoleum, loads of different colours, wood effect, stone effect, loads of them. And then your luxury vinyl tiles or planks. Candine was like a posh make, so like a top of the range one, so that's quite dear. Whereas this one, I don't know the brand of it, it just says Natural self-adhesive vinyl flooring plank, and that's called Silver. It's from Flooring UK if you want to look, flooringuk.com. I'll put all the links in the description on where I got these samples from, so it might help you out to go look, and then you can judge for yourself. So yeah, these are both pretty much equal in my eyes. The Candine is about 1 mil thicker than this self-adhesive vinyl. That might be a good thing or a bad thing. You might want a thinner tile. So yeah, I think the winners in my eyes are these two. Really good looking, easy to fit, durable. And then runners up, I'm going to say the Marmoleum, because it's all natural products, and yeah, it's probably even easier to fit. Did well in all the tests. And then yeah, these two models of Altro, really good. Just these particular ones, I don't like the colour or the pattern on them, but I would definitely recommend them for a campervan floor. So what do you think about all that? What are your thoughts on it? I'd love to hear them. Pop them down in the comments. If you've got any of these and if you disagree with me, pop that down in the comments as well. It doesn't mean I'm right about anything, does it? If you agree with me, let me know. If you want to ask any questions about the stuff, pop them in the comments as well. I'll answer back in the comments, and then I'll also answer it at the end of the next campervan video. If you think there's something else that I should try out, let me know, and I might insert it into another video somewhere. Yeah, other than that, I hope this video helped you out in some way. It certainly helped me out, because I'm going to pick one of these 5x now to do my own van with. None of these are going in my van, apart from the rubber. As I said, that's going in my drawers. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click on the like button. Click on the subscribe button if you haven't already. Come on now. And I'll catch you in the next one.